The old job centre didn't take long to get here in FM21 and one of our own, did it? Who had November the 25th in the sweepstake? I know some of you were speculating down in the comments that I wouldn't even see Christmas. Never mind, make it to the first youth intake. I think we best get inside and see if they can help us.
He's one alone! He's one alone!
Jumping to conclusions, were you? Some of you have got absolutely no faith. It's not me that's been sacked, thank you very much. We're down the job centre because we've lost our assistant manager. Another team came in and offered him a job. We didn't even try and stand in his way. We were offered £9,500 compensation for him, so we've let him go. The job advert's out. We're looking for a new assistant manager. We're still thinking about whether we need to replace our head of youth development as well. Before our assistant manager left, he suggested that we should be hiring Rick Ashcroft, and if we compare him to the person that's doing the job at the moment, well, you can see that they've got the same personality. They've both got this obscure reputation. Maybe this Ashcroft's got better determination and better level of discipline. Thank you very much for all of your comments about what we should be looking for in a new head of youth development at the end of the previous video. I've got one more question for you though. So many people were saying the most important thing to look for is judging player ability and judging player potential. So my question is this: what does that actually do? Does it mean that when I get a youth intake, he will better assess how good they are or how good they could become because of his judging player ability and judging player potential? Or does it actually affect the quality of people he takes in? Does it mean that when he's looking for new gens, long before they ever actually come through on game, he's able to look for ones that have greater potential or spot ones that have better current ability? If you know the answer to that question, well, get that down in the comments. But we've got a game today. We're playing Curzon Ashton. We should probably bring you up to date. Should we start with the table? I think maybe we should. It's not looking all too bad, if I'm honest. We're sitting in third place after 10 games. We've played on a little bit since we were last with you. Not looking too shabby third in the table. Way beyond my wildest dreams, but it's been a little bit of a rocky road to get here. We'll show you the fixtures that we've been involved in. You'll see that straight after our last episode where we played Hereford, well, it didn't go too well after that. We drew 0-0 with Guiseley at home. Not a disaster, a 0-0 draw. But then we played in the FA Cup against Hyde, an unplayable team from the division below, and we lost 1-0 to them, and it started to send alarm bells ringing because we weren't playing well. Then we lost a local derby to Brackley. We'd now gone 3 games without a win, and I was starting to question this squiffy looking tactic that I designed. By the time we got to the Boston game, well, things were looking decidedly shaky by the Boston game. If you have a look at the XG, well, we only had 4 shots in the entire game, none of them on target, with an XG of 0.36. That wasn't the lowest it had been in the previous few fixtures either. So we decided to make a tweak. We went into the Leamington game. We reverted to our back 3 formation. But rather than have 2 strikers and 1 in behind, we put wide men out there as well. It didn't work particularly well. If you look at the XG, we still weren't expected to score a goal during the game. So we shuffled the pack again a little bit, and I think we stumbled upon something that worked a little bit better. For the Chorley game, we kept the 3 at the back, but we went with 3 central strikers, trying to shoehorn more of our players that are naturally strikers into their favoured positions. And it worked. I mean, look, an expected goals of 2.27 to beat Chorley. Not too bad. And then we went and played Alfreton and we smashed them 4-0. And suddenly the 3 up top was starting to look pretty good. All 3 of them played well. The back 3 had gelled nicely. Even got performances out of the wing backs. So I was starting to think maybe this is working. We took it to Chester, played the same formation again. The front 3 played well. We had plenty of shots, 6 of them on target. So we're going into today's game against Curzon Ashton, who are not doing too well themselves. I think they're 23rd down in the table. And we're going to be playing 3 central strikers, a kind of a 5-2-3 formation. One of the reasons I think the old formation did capitulate was an injury to the sheriff. Somebody shot him. He was out for 6 weeks with his twisted ankle. He's back fit enough to be on the bench today, but he did play in the couple of games after the one we showed you in the last episode against Hereford, and even though he was great in that first game, didn't look so good in the following 2 games. So his injury affected us. That's when we switched to the 3 at the back. And we haven't really done too bad since we switched to it. We know it's going to come crashing down today because we're playing a team that are in a poor run of form. So obviously they're going to beat us 1-0. But we're going to see whether we can go out there today and carry on our good run of form. I don't think we're talking promotions. I don't think we're even talking playoffs. But we could be talking survival now, and that is not to be sniffed at. We're going to pump our fist today, and we're going to say, come on, lads, keep the run going. And we're going to send them out there. An away game. Curzon Ashton. I think that's Ashton under Lyme, isn't it? So we're in Greater Manchester. And we've been doing well. We've been looking threatening. We've been creating chances. So that clearly means we're going to absolutely fire blanks today. It also means that the player we've been playing as a deep-lying playmaker in our previous formation, well, he's now up front. He's still not in the position that he wants as Joshua Scott strolls inside 8 minutes and gets us underway. He's been good, by the way. One of the ones we'd not played until we switched to 3 central strikers, but we've brought him in. He scored 5 goals now. He's a player that is on loan from Mansfield Town, so we won't be seeing him next season. But if we can drag a little bit out of him this season, well, that is all well and good. So the player that we're now playing up front is Ben Stevens. He wants to play out on the left. We were playing him as a deep-lying playmaker in central midfield. We've switched him up front now. He scored 4 goals and has not looked too bad as a striker. So it's all change. I'm not saying this is the forever tactic. I'm not sure of the long-term viability of it. I think maybe because we're not predicted to finish that high in the league, maybe we're taking teams a little bit by surprise by playing 3 up front and being, fairly attacking. I think once they work us out, we might be in trouble with this formation. I think it's got some gaps in it. But it's doing okay in the last few games. Not a first half that was full of highlights. I think we might just point our fingers and say, guard against complacency. That wasn't the best we've played. Do we need to make any changes? We've got the sheriff to come on. The physio recommended he plays no more than 75 minutes. I think we might give him 30. And I think we're going to bring him on potentially on a sort of a wide central striker position. See whether he can continue the form he showed in that first game. I think we're going to demand a little bit more of the entire team. And I think we're going to make our change now. Let's see if we can get a second goal before we get there, or are we getting countered on? He's not looking good. We should have the numbers back with 3 at the back, but they're not the fastest. Still got the cover there. Don't foul. Okay, now foul. He's out wide. Okay, we got away with one. We survived one. I think we're going to get the sheriff on. We're going to try him for Ben Stevens. Me having said how much better he's played since he's gone up front. He's done absolutely nothing. And I think we're going to make a change in midfield as well. Get some fresh legs on. And we're into another highlight already. Cool, that was quick. Don't know if those changes have even gone through yet. They haven't because Stevens is on the ball. Well, your time is up, Stevens. You're done, okay. Sling your hook. We got a corner. Let's get the subs on. Let's get the sheriff on the pitch. Let's try and fire him up. Oh, there we go. Fire him up. All right, we've not played that well this game, have we? We're labouring a little bit, but if we're labouring to 3 points, I'll gladly accept it. Not expecting this form to last that long. So we've got to rack up the points while we can. Here's Hunt. He's now back at left wing back. Oh, we've moved him around. Here's the sheriff. Stora's got the ball in. The sheriff's there. Oh, that's not a great effort. And that was a good chance. He nodded it over the bar. We'll show you this Scott at the end of the game. Unfortunately, he's a loan signing, so he won't be with us after this season, but he has looked all right. He's not got any standout attributes, but not really got any great weaknesses either. Lots of 8s, 9s, 10s and 11s. I reckon at this level, he's probably pretty competitive. I think we're going to say that wasn't really that good. I'm not really that happy. Or do we just keep the morale up and try and ride the wave of victories? Let's do that. Well, look, it's inspired them. Hopefully that won't make them get too complacent. We're up to second place. We're equal on points with Filed. I'm going to be brutally honest with you, kids. This is going a little bit better than I had hoped. If we can get through this first season, a nice, safe mid-table position, maybe a cheeky sniff towards the end of the season of the playoffs, I will take that here and now. And if we could couple that with maybe 3 or 4 players from the youth intake that we might be able to include in the first team squad next season, that will be a massive result. We're going to go away and work on our backroom staff. We're going to play a few more games as well. Maybe we'll come and show you how we're getting on over the Christmas period. But until then, work goes on behind the scenes because we're desperately trying to develop one of our own.